Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of my favorite 30 guitar players of all time, and it's pick number 15. We're in the final half, second half, the upper echelon of my favorite guitar players of all time. Remember, this is not best guitar players of all time. These are just our favorites, and we're all picking them together and having a good time with it. So far, so good, right? So today, for my pick number 15, this is a guy who, up until real recently, still fairly active out there on the live scene. He hasn't put out an album with his band in a long time, but basically he has kind of put the band to rest for now, so he says. And there is another band that's just started going out on tour that's going to be playing some of the repertoire of a certain era of this band. Let me bring to the stage, of course, I am talking about Mr. Robert Fripp of King Crimson, founding member, lead guitarist, mellotronist of King Crimson. So, of course, everybody knows the story, right? So a couple of years back, he has said that King Crimson as a touring entity will cease to exist, basically. I don't know if he actually came out and said that, but that's basically what's been implied. And now we have, of course, the Beat Band, which is Adrian Belew, Steve Vai, Tony Levin, and Danny Carey from Tool, going out and doing songs from those three albums from the early 80s, Beat, Discipline, and Three of a Perfect Pair. So that's kind of what's happening right now. Where that will go long term, I guess, remains to be seen. This is just a one-off. Will they record new music? We'll have to see. I'm going to see them in just a couple of weeks up in the Albany area, so I'm looking forward to that. But let's get back to Robert Fripp. So one of the most influential, amazing guitar players of all time, maybe not a household word to or a household name to a lot of people, but on the prog rock scene and even in like metal circles, Robert Fripp carries a lot of weight. That name, his guitar style, very, very unique player. Robert's one of those guys that, you listen to his guitar style and you're kind of thinking, well, I've never really quite heard anything like that before. Hard to emulate. Doesn't really seem to draw inspiration from other sources, right? You hear him and you're like, that's that signature sound, that kind of herky-jerky, dissonant, aggressive, metallic, and at times quite gorgeous guitar style of Mr. Robert Fripp. So let's talk about my three favorite albums featuring his guitar playing. There's a lot to choose from here. There's probably many worthy choices. So I thought long and hard, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to try and go with albums where I feel there's probably a good amount of his guitar playing, because, it would be really easy to go back to the core of the Crimson King, and his playing on that album is amazing, but that's not really a guitar-dominated album by any means. You've got some moments on there, of course, but and then, the same thing with the second, third, and fourth albums, right? So I have to kind of start after that, and my first choice is going to be Lark's Tongues in Aspic, which is my favorite King Crimson album. There's some incredible guitar work on here and great songs. Of course, some of his most signature stuff is on Lark's Tongues in Aspic Part 1 and Part 2, which bookend the album, the two lengthy instrumentals, as far as like his big metallic kind of proto-metal riffing and those crazy blazing shards of white hot molten lava guitar solos, right? They're kind of technical, but they're like kind of avant-garde sounding, and his tone just like kind of cuts right through the mix. Very like stabbing, just angry and angular and dissonant kind of guitar soloing. And then in between, of course, you got Book of Saturday, Exiles, Easy Money. He's cranking on that. That's more kind of like a hard rock song, but some cool like complicated passages, and you got the talking drum in the middle. So yeah, for me, it's like, I think Robert Fripp as a serious guitar hero really kind of popped up on that particular album right there. Next up, we got to go with Red, right? I mean, again, there's some really aggressive, cool stuff on here. Like the title track is great, Fallen Angel, right? One More Red Nightmare, kind of doomy. Dun, 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 blah. You got Providence, and of course the great Starless, and that like moving emotional guitar solo in Starless. Oh, so good. Just so good. So that's pick number 2. Pick number 3 has got to be Discipline. So here, for the very first time, he's teaming up with another guitar player, right? You got Adrian Belew, and the two of them doing this wild stuff off of each other, really complicated riffs and lines, and I think some of Robert's best soloing is also on this album, and you can tell the two of them apart, right? Because Belew is much more of a kind of wilder player, uses the whammy bar quite a bit, using all sorts of tricks and effects and sounds, whereas you've got Robert, who's doing more of these kind of like these looping and just crazy scales and things like that, and all over this album. You got Elephant Talk on here, Frame by Frame, Mate Kudasai, right? Indiscipline. Fellow Jinchi, so the Sheltering Sky. It's just some great stuff on here. But it's King Crimson for a new decade, for a new generation. Doesn't sound anything like these two albums, right? So different, and that's what I think is cool about picking three. These two albums here, these two albums right here, kind of go together. There's one in the middle, of course, too, and then you got this totally different, right? But all three contain some great Robert Fripp guitar soloing. As far as like my favorite solo, my favorite performance, I mean, this was just massively difficult to pick. But I ultimately decided to go with a song that has a really underrated guitar solo from Robert, and it's one of the ones where his tone, the choice of notes, it's yearning, it's emotional, but it's also kind of blazing and looping and doing all those weird things that Robert Fripp does. And I'm going to go with the Night Watch off of Starless and Bible Black. And also one of the reasons why I picked this song is I love those kind of like tremolo pick jagged chords in the beginning, right? Which, you listen to it now. I was just listening to it before I started recording this video again, just to kind of make sure that I'm happy with my pick. And I'm sitting there listening to the Night Watch, the beginning of those chords, and I'm like, holy crap, that's like Norwegian black metal right there. Because you listen to a lot of like the Norwegian black metal bands, specifically from like the late 80s, early 90s. And that's the kind of stuff they were doing on a lot of their songs, that just cold, dissonant, like tremolo pick chords, rapid pick chords. And like, it's like, holy crap. It's like, never even thought of that, right? But just such a cool song, The Night Watch. And again, great vocal from Wetton. And it's just like this kind of like, I don't know, atmospheric kind of sad, melancholy song, but man, then that solo comes in. It's just like, whoa, so good. I think his solo in that rivals the solo in Starless in Starless, which I think is awesome as well. And I almost picked that one. So those were kind of my two right there. There's other faster, more aggressive ones, but I love when Fripp does the kind of technical looping, but still emotional type solo. That's the stuff that really absolutely slays me. So yeah, The Night Watch is my favorite performance from Wetton, and then my three favorite albums are Red, Lark's Tongues and Aspic, and Discipline. Let us know what you think of Mr. Fripp down in the comments below, as well as your pick for today. Pick number 15, and we'll see you tomorrow for number 14. Coming up on the channel here, don't forget, we got the Hudson Valley Squares tonight. It's going to be a really fun show. For those of you who love the episode we did on In the Prog Seat a couple of weeks back, where we did this In the Hot Seat, This or That. We're doing that on the Squares tonight. George Lemie is going to be hosting the show and dishing out the questions. So basically, for those of you who didn't see that and don't know what I'm talking about, basically, we've come up with a boatload of cool questions for each person on the panel. They've got two choices for each question. In many cases, they're going to have to pick, in every case, they're going to have to pick one or the other. And we tried to make it really difficult. And some of the questions are two things we know that our panelists either really love a lot or they really hate a lot, but they got to pick one over the other. And it's going to be music related, maybe some movies, maybe some food, personal stuff, sports, I don't know, whatever, mostly music, but we're going to throw some other oddball things in there. So join all of us tonight as George torches the squares and tortures the squares with some crazy questions that they're going to have to answer, this or that. That's coming up tonight on the Hudson Valley Squares. Should be loads of fun. So tune in for that. We've got, of course, Wednesday is New Album Review Day, or What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. Wednesday, Thursday is the Monsters Den. Friday morning at the Funhouse, we will be back. Martin and I will be back on Friday morning to do the show we had planned for last week, but I couldn't because of family stuff that's going on. We got the Professor's Picks also coming back on Friday. And then Saturday, we've got the UK Connection, and Sunday is Ranking the Albums. I think Sunday is going to be myself solo for ranking the albums of the Vanilla Fudge. So stay tuned for that. That's coming up on Sunday. So till then, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support there. We also have channel memberships. Click on that join button. You can see the couple different plans that are available. So thank you all for who have done that. We had a whole bunch of people who have done that already. Thank you so much. It's great to see people wanting to support the channel. As always, greatly appreciated. Thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow for pick number 14. I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy your Monday. See you tonight on the Hudson Valley Squares in the hot seat, this or that. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.